careful. Ready?
That's so cool.
Ready? And
3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the control pod. Welcome back to the control pod.
Yes.
Woo! Different environment today, everybody. We are here with the Mr. Summit team, the OGs. How good?
Thank you for
Jordan-
having us.
Yes, Jordan, second time on.
Second time, yeah.
How good?
that was a very cool intro
Yeah.
to our new location, new pod.
We're trying out different things.
The vibes are high, guys.
Literally. I don't believe the audience or listeners have met you two.
Yeah.
Newbies.
Yeah.
How are we going?
Very good.
Very good.
Happy
Do you
to
want
be here.
to
Pretty good. Be on the show.
please introduce yourself, what you do, who you are?
No, Danny, you can go first.
Well, as Tony just said, I'm Danny or Daniel. I am one of 3 the founders of Mr. Summit. And we're here in Bali working on our new top secret project. It's not going to be very secret any longer.
Longer.
I know.
Yes.
Hard launch.
That's right, coming soon.
How good.
My name is Tony, as Danny just said. I'm also one of the founder of Mr. Summit. And we used to say Mr. Summit Melbourne, and now we can say Mr. Summit Melbourne and Mr. Summit Bali.
Hey! How good. I'm
Is that
kind
an
of nervous.
announcement? Is that an announcement?
Just
You heard-
full,
you
right?
heard- you
Once
heard
we-
first folks.
This video, then after that there is like literally that's the announcement
Yeah,
video.
okay, all right.
Is it?
Yeah, there'll be.
Technically, the globe is first.
Right.
Ah, yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
yeah.
already
Okay.
announced.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
good.
yeah.
So happy days.
That's cool. That's
So
cool.
happy days. Yeah.
That's it. That's it. For those of you that don't know, Control has been helping Mr. Summit out with their content since Jan, which has
Well,
been
actually, for context, realistically,
yeah. Go.
we had Jordan on the pod.
Yes.
Great pod. Go listen to it if you haven't listened to it. And then a week before New Year's, we were just chilling around. Got a contact from who did we get the contact from? It was from Tony.
Sony,
It
yeah.
was me,
That's
yeah.
right. And he said, "Guys, we need to talk. We need your help." And we went, "Oh, frick yeah!" And then caught up with them the week before New Year's. Talked about some content, meeting for the business. Business is expanding. You guys are getting busier. Doing the content yourself is obviously getting harder. So we talked about doing content again. And now 3 months later, here we are in Bali, shooting with them.
Dan, I know you were handling a lot of the content prior to us jumping on.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us a bit about Mr. Summit, what the vibe is, how you went about content for your cafe?
Yeah, well, actually, at the beginning, probably from year 1 through 3, it was actually my fiance, Leanne, who was looking after our social media. So she did like all the day 0 stuff, pre-launch, launch day, and she was with us for a while. But then, you know, your fiance also being a contractor / employee of your company, you know, it creates like a strange dynamic at home sometimes. So we decided that it was best for us, like she and I, if we, you know, looked elsewhere for socials. And at the time, I had kind of like fallen in love with creating content and social media stuff, and thought I would try my hand at it. And yeah, I made like some content that I'm very happy with, and some videos that did really, really well. But it was a challenge. Like there was a lot more to it when it comes to running the socials of a business rather than a personal page. And it was, creating some strange, I guess, overlaps between my responsibilities as like the business's social media manager, but also, and then as like one of the owners of the business. And it just got a bit complicated. And so we decided that we wanted to seek a bit more professional help, people who have a bit more experience in the game. And I think it was one of the best decisions that we've made. So, yeah.
Oh,
And Tony, where do you fit in all of this, huh?
Just in the background, to be honest. No, I think with the boys, we like clearly identify in the last year that marketing is extremely important. Probably marketing, accounting, and operation, without going too much in detail. And so, yeah, I mean, great to know you guys, great to meet you guys, great to work with you guys, and we feel like I'm not saying that to make a joke, but the marketing is in control at the moment. Literally word for word, but yes, definitely in control. So that like take off a lot of stress from us as well. And I feel like from the beginning of the relationship, we really clarify our expectation with you guys, the way we work, what do we expect, and things like that. So you guys sort of like feed in those expectations, and it's yeah. 3 months later, as you just say, we are in Bali
Truly. I know.
making
It's,
content, and hopefully that's the beginning of a great relationship. Yeah.
yeah. No, thank you, Tony. I think it's been a very fast 3 months, and I think when it goes fast, that's when you know you're having the most fun. Like I think it's just gone by so quick, and then to be obviously here for context now where we are now, we have spent 5 days now with these guys in Bali, going through sort of a new part to their or new chapter to their new story as a company, and it's been such an enjoyable journey just to see you guys in a even more raw and authentic sort of setting where it's like really there's no Mr. Summit t-shirt work after your shift. It's literally just
there's
you
no
guys.
t-shirt at all.
Yeah, it's literally topless guys together. And then to see you guys like really just raw for the three of you, it's been really fun, and I think we can go into that sort of.
Yeah, for sure. I know we interviewed Jadyn and spoke a bit about how Mr. Summit came to be and the whole origin. And for those listening, do check that episode out because you'll get a lot more context. But 4 years into the journey, well, as of the episode releasing, you would have turned 4 already.
Oh, yeah.
How has that journey been from year 1 to year 4? I know Tony and I had a bit of a chat privately, like one of the mornings, speaking a bit about I guess your evolution as business owners and maybe the perception of the Southbank people and how they interact with you over the 4 years. But if anyone wants to add to that.
Go for it.
All right, take it. Well, over the last 4 years, to be honest, it's just gone extremely quickly. And like, get me right, it was a lot of challenges. We faced a lot of like, how can I explain? A lot of troubled water, and we were like, oh my God, this is. But after 4 years, I can say that we kind of built a structure where we understand that our relationship was the strongest aspect of that business in terms of decision making, but also understanding each other. And so that's probably the biggest lesson we got out of this 4 years, because a company can grow extremely quickly and extremely slowly as well. But whatever we do, we want to build it on a very safe foundation. And so we understand that relationship and keeping it healthy is definitely the good foundation of the building. And then doesn't matter how high goes the building, it's just the foundation has to remain nice and healthy.
Yeah.
So over the last 4 years, definitely the relationship.
Yeah, well, talk to us about maybe a time that all three of you, just between the three of you, felt like there was a really strong challenge that you guys had. And how did you guys overcome that challenge? Because I'm sure very different opinions, very, very different mindsets. Although I've kind of seen you guys the last 3 days, or 5 days, I feel like you guys actually have very similar sort of opinions and like agree on a lot of things, but I'm sure it's taken time to get to that point. But is there a time that you guys can come back to where you were like, this was difficult for the three of us, but we figured it out?
Well, we can talk about Indonesia and the challenge that like Jadyn brought one day, saying that he wanted to move back.
Yeah,
It's
that was pretty
Mm.
pretty challenging as well in the beginning, right? Like so Mr. Summit, I think that was 2022, 23. Yeah, 2023, so 3 years ago. I was on student visa, and I know that my visa will end in 2026. That was like the deadline, and there's no other way for me to basically stay in Australia and get another visa or something like that. But and like since the beginning as well, I always know that like Indonesia is kind of like my place. Like it's always home for me, and no matter how I love Melbourne, Indonesia still have like a special place in my heart. So I know eventually I'll go back after my visa is finished. So one day I brought it up to Danny and Tony um, that I will have to move back to Indonesia and won't be on day-to-day operation in Melbourne anymore. And in order to keep the business relationship together, I was proposing for us to open in Indonesia. And at that moment, they were in straight away, basically, almost straight away. But then I said to them, I told them, first we need to visit Bali, because Bali is kind of like the place where it's the bridge between Melbourne or Australia in general and Indonesia. Like a lot of Aussie people, they go there and spend time in Bali. So it's like the culture itself, it's almost it's pretty similar to the coffee culture that we have in Melbourne. So we decided to, okay, let's go there, let's suss out the vibe and see how the market like, the coffee culture like, and stuff like that. And that was 3 years ago. And then over the last 3 years, we've been going back and forth a lot of times until I think last year when we decided, okay, 2 years ago maybe even, we decided, okay, let's take this seriously and let's open a Mr. Summit in Bali.
I think this trip might be our 15th
Yeah, I was asking Tony actually, like
time in Bali.
probably around, is it around
Yeah,
12?
so yeah, it could be 12,
Yeah.
could be 14, could be 11, it could be somewhere around those lines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Well, I want to ask because Faulkner just opened about a month ago. Was that part of the pipeline, or did you always think that it was going to be City then Bali?
Not originally. Actually, we for a while had no interest in opening
Second.
another store in Melbourne. I think we were, because we had like a few different eras of Mr. Summit. We had a lot of different ideas about how we saw the business. The original idea before considering Jordan going back to Indonesia was to make kind of like one incredible small business, and that's why we had the bar. Because especially for Tony and Jordan, both of them had like a background in working in bars, and specifically, especially Jordan had a like a real fixation on mixology, and we figured, like we basically said to ourselves, look, like where our rent is the same whether we open like 24 hours a day or 12, it makes a lot of sense for us to try and capitalize on that additional like kind of untouched trade. And so I think we talked about opening a bar very early on, and it was in December of 2023 that the bar was officially open. And that was kind of going to be it for Melbourne, was like a cafe and bar here. And then I think for Bali, we were originally talking about potentially doing a cafe and bar in Bali. And we thought, look, if we're going to open in Indonesia, then we like, why waste our energy opening 2-3 locations in Melbourne when we can go Indonesia and then, other countries around the world. But then Faulkner Street happened very, very suddenly. It was midway through last year. I think you guys were on a walk together or something like that, or
No,
or
it
Tony
was,
found the vacant tenancy.
correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was when I had like a time off from Mr. Summit,
Mm.
and then like on that time off, I didn't want to go to Mr. Summit because I want to suss out like different areas of Southbank and just see how the business are there and stuff like that. So I stayed. I regularly go to this specific coffee shop in that area. And then I remember after coming there a few times, I brought it to Tony, and Tony, being Tony, straight away, like see the tenancy, available tenancy there, contact the agent straight away, and you can continue the story.
Well, I guess we need to mention as well that simultaneously we were holding sort of like, we had some employees that expressed the interest into learning more deeply about the business. So we decided to create a business class in which we wanted to share our journey and our understanding of the business to the people working at Mr. Summit. And so we did probably about 5
5, 6,
classes.
yeah.
And then straight away you got some of the staff that were like extremely interested, like, oh wow, that sounds like, wow, that sounds crazy.
It's Kasumi's wow.
Wow. And so yeah, basically it happened like simultaneously, but also naturally, where we were thinking, okay, these are two things that are happening at the same time. We got a little bit of market understanding in Southbank, and we got our staff that are expressing that want to grow. And so we were thinking, if we can align those two step by step, then maybe the second Mr. Summit will be born in Melbourne.
Mm.
Wow.
And so after that, the rest is pretty much detail. And then we propose to the staff, what do you think, and this and that, and I can say that they reacted very positively, and then from that it's just like it happened. Yeah.
I think you guys, from speaking to you guys over the course of the relationship of us filming content and everything, it seems that you guys have held on to a lot of long-standing staff as well. Like retention is so high for hospitality, which is normally quite a churn and burn sort of situation. How do you guys continue to provide, I guess, whether it's challenges or through the classes or any sort of stimulus for your staff so that they still feel challenged, valued, and not in the comfort zone that we sort of spoke about?
Great question, Jadyn.
That's a very good question. I think it's a lot of things. I think it's not just about providing new things to staff, but more staying true to the reason that they started to work at Mr. Summit in the first place. Like we say that we're building a team, we're building a family. Like everybody who works at Mr. Summit is not just an employee or a member of the staff. It's something we haven't actually said in a while, but one of our mottos was that we want our staff, we work for our staff so that our staff can work for our customers and for the business. We try and be as flexible with staff as possible, and I guess expect the same in return. We're always trying to look after staff, make them feel welcome, appreciated. Little things like organizing badminton nights and like going and doing, I don't know, like just fun, interesting things as a team, like the Among Us experience. I guess we want to do things just like a little bit differently to other businesses. But then, of course, yeah, like new challenges is a big aspect of that. Making sure that we're always aware of what our staff want. Jordan was particularly responsible for, and still is responsible for, staff appraisals where you would kind of understand where the staff sees themselves in
the company,
Mr. Summit, in the long term and in the short term.
Yeah, and more like a sit down one-on-one with every staff member, and just to understand what's their vision and mission in the company, and like how can we make what they want happen, basically.
And I guess something we need to talk about as well is the hiring part of our approach, because like there is a saying that says basically quick hiring, quick firing. And so finding someone with skills it's not the challenge. But finding someone that belongs, that first wants to be, and then belong into the team is probably the biggest challenge that we are facing into the growth. Because if we got, I wouldn't even call that the right people. If we just hire people that have the passion of hospitality, then everything goes naturally. Like there is literally, we hire people with different level, and that's okay. But it's just like, is it meant to be for you? Like that's what we're looking into the hiring, is like, do you just want a job? And that's fair enough. Or do you want to be here? Do you want to sweat the jersey and make that team better? That's the real question that we're asking ourselves when we look at the new staff and thinking, okay, that's a little bit, yeah, it's always challenging time. So we're taking things very slow with like interview and pay trial and then week trial. And we want to make sure that they fit along the other staff member as well, which we respect a lot because they've been here for a while. So their opinion matter. And then after a little while, it's kind of organic. Do they belong here, or is it not just the right ingredient for that?
Yeah, that was awesome. What was it? What was your feeling of when you guys went from working, the three of you, to hiring your first employee? And that was San Lee, was it? Was that
yeah,
correct?
San Lee.
Shout out to San Lee.
Shout out San Lee.
Well,
We love her.
Stanley was
Sam.
there from day one. So there was no moment in Mr. Summit where we didn't have a staff.
Mm.
It was, and before that, we worked together with other co-workers as well back in Tony's Cafe Cornico. But I think I can speak for myself and probably Jordan as well, because Mr. Summit was our first time ever hiring people. That it kind of adds a new dynamic and a new challenge to your life as somebody who no longer just works in a cafe, but is now responsible for, I guess, somebody else's livelihood, right? Like their place in that cafe is what pays their bills. Is I guess, yeah, like everybody needs a job, right? Or at least they need money coming in. And so, but also at the same time, we need them just as much as they need us. And so, yeah, navigating that and making sure that they always feel welcome, they always feel wanted, but at the same time, yeah, always leaving like a little bit more to be desired, or like the allure of like a new challenge, or opportunities for staff to constantly push themselves, so that working in Mr. Summit doesn't just become like boring and mundane and the same thing every single day. Like it's a very busy shop, so it's challenging every single day. It's kind of hard to get bored, but yeah, it was like a very big shift in perspective. Yeah, I guess being responsible for people other than myself on a day-to-day basis.
I think final question on staffing, and then we'll get into the Bali process. But I wanted to ask, like, you, and I mean, Alisha and I see this a lot when we come into, say, Faulkner to work, or even seeing like people's stories within your team as well. Like everyone seems really connected, and I think that firstly, that's a beautiful thing. You guys have created something incredible, but particularly in business, sometimes, I mean, conflict arises, and sometimes you do need to play, I guess, you guys are the managers or the owners, and you do have to sort of intervene and make sure that you do jump in before a situation spirals out of control. How do you maintain that balance of being, you know, a great friend, good mate, family, versus being a business owner and being that boss as well?
But I think the question is even bigger than what you just asked, because you say manager and owner. I think that we can even refer that as leaders, and more than just simple corridor conflict. We can talk about like bigger and smaller conflict that will arise along the way. And I feel like Danny said it well, like the staff, we are responsible for people's life in a way as we're growing. And as leader, from the outside point of view, you're thinking, oh wow, everybody wants to be here, and that's cool, and it's a beautiful company culture. But from the inside, as leaders, sometimes we have to take decision that we don't feel good about it, but we know it's necessary for the company and for the well-being of everybody else. We have to do it. And I wouldn't say it's a sacrifice, but it is at the beginning extremely challenging for us. And that's where we're coming from just a simple cafe operator, or that's our cafe and we work in it every day, to now we have to manage people, to now we are actually leading like a project. And in this project, we have to, I think that's one of the biggest challenge at the moment, is like, how do we approach a decision and how do we make sure that we feel good about it? So creating process around that is not as simple as 2 + 2 = 4. It's just like, how do we approach that problem or that issue that is coming up, and how do we sort of put some structure, step by step? How do we move so we know we're taking the right decision?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys have done an absolute fantastic job at creating a community in Southbank. And truly, I think the concept is that, we even said this the other day, it was like, everything that is the community of Southbank is centralized by Mr. Summit, whether it's condition or Faulkner now, or even just, going to even the library. Sometimes we bump into Mr. Summit customers, everything that kind of revolves around this orange branding that you guys have stamp marked into the Southbank community. It has become a part of our daily lives, and not just for us, but when we recently have now really integrated into the community, we get to see Hannah at Condition, and then we go to Faulkner and we hang out at Faulkner, and now we get to like really talk to customers as well, and get to really know them. And we notice that our life is pretty much in Southbank because Mr. Summit exists. And I think you guys have done a massive impact for everyone in that community. So on to
Bali.
Bali. What a project.
3-year journey.
What a project.
I didn't realize it was a 3-year journey.
Yeah, it didn't say, it didn't make it sound like it was a 3-year journey.
It's more like 2.5, because it was October 2023 that we had our first trip, and it would have been maybe a month or two before that Jordan would have first brought the idea to us. Yeah, it's like 2.5 years going back and forth.
Before you go into that, what were your initial reactions to Jordan, I guess, announcing that? Had you known deep down already, or do you feel like it
Yeah, actually, I
sort of
wouldn't know that as well.
came from the blue?
I wouldn't know
Already,
that as
I
well.
told you guys. And you want to go?
It's actually, to be honest, it's quite hard to remember, because it was so long ago. But whenever somebody asks like, oh well, why Bali, I always give pretty much the same copy paste answer, which is when Jordan came to Tony and myself to like with this, it's not like an ultimatum, but like, I am leaving. This is my proposal. What do you think? As Tony said earlier, what makes Mr. Summit and makes us capable of doing all the things that we've done is first and foremost, and most importantly, the relationship between the three of us. And so we're kind of presented with two options. If Jordan's going to move back to Bali, either he can enjoy a healthy little profit distribution from one cafe, the small business that he helped build for 4 years in Melbourne, or we can basically follow him.
Little helicopter from
Helicopter.
Bali.
Little chopper.
Just wait for
Intermezzo.
2 seconds.
Yeah, or we can follow him home and essentially create a Mr. Summit of his own for him to run. And I think like it wasn't even a decision. It was kind of like, of course, like why would we
not?
choose anything else?
Yeah.
Like I owe so much to these guys. Like my life wouldn't be the same were it not for them and were it not for Mr. Summit. And so I couldn't imagine like Mr. Summit not having one of its founders being involved. yeah, so I think international expansion, specifically expansion to Bali, it just made sense. Like, it was a real no-brainer, at least for me.
Tony?
For me, I think it's a very good question. When Jordan, so I came to Bali before, and I really like the island life. And then, so Jordan came in and said, okay, guys, basically, to recap, I'm moving back to Indonesia. Are we, what's the vibe? Are we seeing the bigger picture, or are we just like that? And then everything is fair enough. There is no good or right, good or wrong answer. What do you guys think? And for me, myself, knowing myself, I thought like, okay, this is very hard because I really want to do it, but that's emotionally speaking, because I really like the island life and but I built a life so far in Melbourne, which I have to also take in consideration when I'm taking this decision. It's not only me. It's not just like, okay, I want to open Bali. Is I have a look around me and see, okay, is it feasible or not? And also another thing with myself is, if I say that I do it, I know I will do it. So I kind of got scared to be like, okay, yeah, let's do it. I just thought, okay, I need some time to think about it. And then if I say I do it, then I will do it. So I remember actually booking an Airbnb away for like a full 24 hours. And I went away from Melbourne, and I just thought about, okay, this is a life-changing decision. Like you know, you do a small decision every day, but this decision, you need to think about it, and you need to make sure it's, if we do it right. And that's going to affect the rest of our life, because we're creating another path. And so after a lot of thinking, I just thought, this is me. Look around me, look at all the elements, and think, okay, I mean, let's do it. And yeah, Danny was already pretty much convinced from day one. And that's where we started like all this market research, and it's been a very long journey. But I wanted to bounce back to one of your questions, which is, what was, over the last 4 years, our biggest challenge? I really want to say that on camera, because it really mattered to me, and I think to the three of us. Is Jordan often refer like the world of business to three things, which is the access, the education, and the capital. At the beginning, we met each other. We had none of them. And so we were just three young boys, ready to work hard, but there's a bit of education. We understand what we're doing, obviously making coffee, but the rest is very like unclear. And so I think something that we always had, that not many people have in this business world, is completely different perspective. I come from another continent. Jordan is come from another continent, and Danny is come from another continent. Literally, not even a country, but a continent. And so it can be a weakness, because everything that is a very good strength is also sometimes very close to be a weakness. But it's a great asset. So maybe we didn't have, okay, the capital and the access and this and that, but we have three different perspectives, very wide perspective. And as long as we find a common decision, we believe that can work. Yeah, it can work. And we also three different individuals. The way we think, the way we approach life, the way we do, pretty much we're very different. But we find our similarity through everyday life things, but also through business. Yeah.
And Jordan, we're not leaving you out of this one. What was it like for you to share the news to these two as well?
I was like, were you nervous?
Yeah.
Like,
I was so nervous.
yeah.
I was so nervous because, of course, like, Minnesota is always the priority and always like a big part of my life. And knowing that I will leave Melbourne and not be involved in the business anymore. Before I even like talked to them about the idea, I was like thinking about it for like weeks, and just scared of them saying nah. Basically, if they say no, then that's it for me. You know what I mean? And when I came up with the idea and proposed it to both Tony and Daniel, and their reaction was positive, I kind of like just it changed my, it's just, it was so how do I explain it properly? It was so relieving. You know what I mean? Like I was so relieved that okay, they're positive. Now what's next? Right? But just the idea of talking to them about the project, about the idea, scares me a lot.
Mm.
Yeah. And I guess like it means that we all on the same page that business relationship, our relationship between the three of us is very important and that's a priority. Um, and if let's say like for example the Bali thing, I wanted to go back home to Indonesia and then we make it work. If let's say for example uh, Danny wants to live in the UK, let's say, for example, then we'll make it work. We'll try to always make it work as long as the three of us keep sticking together. Yeah.
I think with friendships as well, it's always about like it's like a game of chicken
Mm.
when it comes to I guess like building trust, and it's like who is willing to push like that little bit more, like get a little bit uncomfortable. So when you have these uncomfortable conversations, it almost like puts you up another level and builds another level to that foundation that you guys have started to build. And I think like by being able to have those uncomfortable conversations or the really difficult ones where it's like, oh shit, like I'm being really vulnerable here. Like this is my situation, and I'm really leaving myself out to hang. Like what's gonna happen? Like the fact that you guys obviously were on board, but even the courage to obviously share that too, I think is really a testament to the three of you. Like you guys all talk about how Mr. Summit wouldn't be Mr. Summit without the three of you, and like the different perspectives and the relationship that you guys have. So I think that's it's pretty fascinating to be honest.
But I wanted to say as well that, as Jordan say, Indonesia is his home. And for us, Danny and I, when we hear that, we kind of sitting on the sideline and we're like, well, in a way, in business, there is no favor. We cannot do that project because absolutely it's a favor that we give him. Because otherwise, it kind of unbalances the relationship. So we're thinking, okay, is it possible to actually do it? And when we realized that this project is actually feasible, I think we felt a lot of happiness because we part of like that process to like get along with him to his home country and make it happen in his land. Like this is a beautiful, like that Danny knows that because he's in Australia. But for Jordan, it's like kind of new, like, okay, he's gonna come back home and bring his company to his people, to his community. And so for us, it's just happiness to be part of that process because he knows a lot and he's learning a lot. And then we just like doing that with him. So happiness.
Talk to us about next steps after that conversation happened. What was
The
done
15
after?
trips.
15 trips. Where was all of that? Because for you guys, obviously coming into a new country, and obviously I've kind of experienced this myself when I go to Japan. There's a lot of legal proceedings. There's all the business proceedings, which in Australia and speaking English, it's easy to kind of search and understand. But in a different culture, what was that experience, and yeah, what happened after that?
Well, we do we do R&D a little bit differently to most businesses.
Tell the world our secret ingredient.
It's really bad. I think. Look, like. so we like, well, first of all, like we all come from very, very different backgrounds, but one thing was with like that remained consistent amongst the three of us was that like this was, even for Tony, who'd operated other businesses, this was the first time that any of us had a business that could facilitate something like even the prospect of opening in another country. Like that idea that like we not only is it like potentially realistic for us to go over to another country like Indonesia and open, but one of our business partners is from that country, which makes it at least slightly easier than if we were all foreign. But also that the business was generating enough revenue that it could pay for the three of us to fly over. I think we were like really, really excited and maybe a little bit overzealous. Like we were very, very, very excited when we came over. And so our first 1, 2, 3 trips were probably a little bit more party than they were. Like than R&D. Look, we definitely made some connections and learned a lot on those trips. But if you were to compare our first trip to Indonesia to our one now, it's two completely different. It's almost like 3 completely different people. Like we've matured a lot. The business has matured a lot. I think on the first trip in Bali, we bought 2 bottles of tequila and a bottle of rum in duty free, and and like they like partied a lot. But look, I think we also unanimously agreed that like we've been working really, really hard for the last almost 2 years, and we owed it to ourselves to let a little bit loose. But yeah, it was upon like the 3rd, 4th, 5th trip that we realized, okay, like if we're gonna like actually make this happen, we need to take this a little bit more seriously. And so no more drinking, no more party, just meet with as many people as we can, visit as many tenancies as we can, extract as much information with locals that we know. But yeah, it's definitely been a lot of growth and a lot of learning, for sure.
So first was coming here after all those trips as well, was finding a location. Was that the first thing that you needed to do? Obviously you had your market research. That's probably, actually maybe that's number 1. Then
Well,
we
that's
go
still ongoing.
ongoing still.
Like market research
Yeah.
doesn't just
Really
stop or
ever
feel.
end. That's right. But then you go into then location.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Since
Definitely.
the second trip, we already talked to like some people and start sussing out the location. Our plan in the beginning was going to be in around Seminyak area because it's more like there's more tourists there and it's more alive and it's busier and this kind of stuff. And then we kind of like go to Canggu a little bit. Was it Canggu?
I think with Canggu, we were never super interested.
Yeah,
We just thought,
just
look,
like-
we it's close to Seminyak.
Yeah,
Like it would be a shame to miss out on an opportunity and just not
Yeah.
check. But we only
Yeah.
went to Canggu once or twice. Right?
yeah. So yeah, I think we talked to like one landlord in Canggu, but we never really liked Canggu. Like we don't have that feeling of Mr. Summit belongs here. And then after a few trips, then we kind of clicked that Uluwatu is the place. Like we know that Mr. Summit is Uluwatu is more Mr. Summit vibe. We belong here, and it feels like this is the place where we should go. So after that, every single time we have a trip to Bali, we always stay around this area, around Uluwatu area, and just started to find new locations here and there. I think we probably talk to around like, or at least checking 6 or 7 tenancy. Was it?
Seriously.
Seriously 6 or 7
In Uluwatu.
in Uluwatu.
Yeah.
Yeah, and none of them clicks. Like none of them either it is too expensive or the paperwork is not, it's not completed or
Or the owner is dead and
Yeah.
nobody actually owns it.
exactly. Yeah, that was a cool story. That was
No, 100%. Yeah.
that was a
I
weird
think you
story.
can explain this one best. You're the one who understand this rule because this kind of thing, it can't happen in Australia.
Yeah. So yeah, basically this specific tenancy, we actually really like the location. It's a very nice location. It's a nice place as well. Like 2-story, and then in the main road, main busy road. It's near the place that we stayed before.
The place we stayed before being in Labuan Said.
In Labuan Said, in Labuan Said area, the main road going to Pantai Bingin, to Padang Padang. So literally every tourist will go there. Um, and then we were interested. We talked to the owner. Turns out
That was the owner.
It turns out not the owner. So the story behind
Turns
this
out just some
tenancy,
guy.
yeah, story behind this tenancy is the real owner has passed away years ago, right? Passed away years ago, and this specific tenancy is not doesn't belong to anyone. So the how do you properly explain Banjar in English term?
Council.
Okay, like the local council. The local council kind of just like took over, and
Kind of like the council meets neighborhood watch
yeah, more like a neighborhood watch slash a local council
slash church.
slash church, yeah, temple, yeah, and they say okay, they own the place and this and that, but then when we check the paperwork, none of this council actually in that certificate of the land certificate.
Wow.
So everything is so dodgy, and they were like, okay, let's let's pull back a little bit, because of course we want to do like when we do business, we want to do everything properly. You know, we don't want to, oh yeah, just because the price is good and then the location is good, and we just be impulsive and start doing business, and then in like few years after that we regret, or we, you know, there's problem. Oh, my cigarette. Sorry.
I'm watching it since 10 minutes. I'm like, that's gonna fall. That's gonna fall.
You almost made it to the ashtray.
Yeah.
It was very hot in my hand. I was like, oh.
Oh wow.
His finger is sweating.
Yeah. And yeah, like it was weird. And actually, this place is one of the first place that we're actually very serious about. There was at one point as well where I couldn't travel to Bali, but they have to, like, we have to be in Bali to talk to the owner and start doing negotiation and start, you know, just like talking about paperwork and stuff. So Tony and Danny, they went here by themselves, and have our driver as a translator even in the
Oh my
business meeting,
goodness.
because the owner couldn't speak English. The real estate agent couldn't speak English. So it was just like it was so funny, this story. But yeah, and then after a few tenancy, we got this place in Uluwatu Street, Pechatu. And when we went there, we kind of know that, okay, this is Mr. Summit. This will be our next home. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Was it something that like you saw and you're like, this is it? Was there a feeling that you walked in and you're like, yep, or could anything, any detail? on that?
Actually, no, because the second time we saw it, yes, but the first time we saw this tendency, it was the construction hadn't even started yet, and I think our original timeline was we wanted to be open or at least starting construction by September of last year, right? And the construction wasn't scheduled to be finished until after that, and so we originally said that we weren't interested.
Yeah.
But then, you know, in typical Mr. Summit fashion, we didn't really stick to our timeline. And because to circle back to the tenancy that Jordan was talking about with the dead owner situation, like we were probably in negotiation for this tenancy for a month or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it was a long time. Like there was a moment
long
where we
ago.
were set, like this is the one. And it wasn't until it was very heartbreaking to find out that like it's just not gonna work. Like it's too dangerous. And so it was around the same time that we saw that tenancy that we first saw the one that we finally ended up choosing and decided like, no, it's the timeline doesn't work. But then it was October of last year that we came back, and
Correct. Yes.
October of last year we came back, and of course the construction of this tenancy was probably 95% finished.
We weren't even supposed to go there.
Yeah, we
actually.
weren't even supposed to
Yeah.
go there. It was because we checked out a couple tenancies and
Yeah, and then it's just on the way, like on
Yeah.
our way to that tenancy.
yeah,
The real estate agent was like, "Oh, do you want to check the this place that you went here before?" And then we were like, "Yeah, all right." And then and then yeah, and then we went there.
Yeah, and then we went there. and I was like, "Fuck, well, that's the one, I
This is
guess."
it, yeah. Wow. So then after that was the location, what was the next step after that?
Actually, before that, we you know I have a little story about this as well. In Bali, the postal code is a little
Oh God.
the postal code in Bali is a little bit different than Melbourne or in or Australia in general. In Melbourne, it's like in Southbank it's 3006, and then CBD is 3000.
Yeah.
And then in South Yarra is
3141.
yeah, like every
Yeah.
every suburb has different postal code.
Mm.
In Bali, it's different. Like the way they separate every region, every like specific suburb, and their postcode is completely different, right? So was this on our like
Second.
second
Second trip, second trip.
No.
Yeah,
Second
Frapsy Bali. You want to talk about Frapsy Bali?
You want me to talk about Frapsy Bali?
Oh, Frapsy Bali.
I can introduce it and then I'll leave it to you
Okay.
because I really want to make sure the structure is right.
Okay.
Nice.
Do you
Lisa?
want Frapsy
Yeah,
Bali?
keep going.
Okay, so basically, we had our mindset on this area, which is named Seminyak, and we're like, okay, this is actually what we want. And so, okay, let's have a look at tenancy for rent and this, and we put our mind on like kind of a strip. And so, as Danny mentioned, yes, a little bit of like party, drinking, and socializing, but from the second trip, that's proof that it was also some solid market research because we basically book an hotel room that can have the view on the strip that we actually are very interested. So we're like, okay, we're not going to observe from the hotel, but literally as soon as we go down, we can see the whole life and we can really take the temperature in the street. And so after that, what did we do? Did we go there?
No, we went there. We talked to him.
Well, you missed a detail because the first trip is when we found his tenancy.
Okay.
It was the,
Oh,
it was,
yeah,
it was
yeah,
the
that's right,
very
just
that's
a
first
right.
for
trip.
rent.
Just a
call.
for rent sign. You message him on WhatsApp. We tried to meet him on the first trip, but we couldn't
Yeah.
because he was in Sydney at the time, and so we missed each other by a couple days. And so I think we actually booked our second trip around
Yes.
being able to meet this guy.
Yes.
And as far as we were concerned, like, again, this was the one. Like it was a cheap lease, like because we did a bit of, or Tony did a bit of negotiating over WhatsApp, and we found out that it was only like what 15,000 Australian dollars a year or something.
It was pretty cheap,
in a
but it was
pretty-
a sub lease.
It was it was a sublease, so
Mm.
we weren't going to be taking over his lease. We were going to be subleasing from him, who was already subleasing from another guy. Which
But this we find out later, no? We found
no,
out on the second
I
trip.
think we knew.
Yeah, we knew.
Because he told us about the landlord, and he was saying like, oh, if you really want, then I can just transfer my lease rather than subleasing to you, but it's more ideal for me if I can sublease because my wife's kitas is linked to this address, and so if
It's just
you take over
dodgy.
my lease, then I need to find a new place to register for her
Yeah, yeah.
visa to stay here. So ideally, you know,
So that was the deal.
yeah.
Like, that
Oh,
was the.
complications.
That's Fraps Bali.
Yeah,
That's,
that-
that's
sorry.
him. That's him.
And so no, let me get into the story. So basically, we met that guy, and he's a very nice Aussie guy actually, and we decided to meet him into
Potato Head.
Potato Head Beach Club, which is one of the iconic beach club in Bali.
Seminyak, yeah.
And in Seminyak
Yeah.
actually, like down the road. And so I told the boys before the meeting, I remember that I said, look guys, we need a lot of information from that meeting. And this guy seems to be a little bit like, okay, I can talk, but then, like a little bit like, I know a lot, but I'm only gonna give you what I want. And so I said to them, if at some point we can get him fucking drunk, then we'll get a lot of information from him.
Like absolutely fucking shit face.
So we start the meeting pretty formal. Hey, Fabsi, okay, nice to meet you. And then we talk a little bit about ourselves. Regular business meeting with a bintang. Everything is going so far so good. And then I remember going to the bar, ordering 4 shots of tequila plus another round of bintang.
Don Julio Anejo.
Don Julio Anejo. And then from that, it just like became not another man, but like kind of like give us everything that we wanted to know about everything. And so we won't display confidential information on online because that's respect for our friend Frapsi Bali.
And for us.
But he gave us like a lot. And then so
But
yeah.
if I can say one thing as well before you finish the story, there is one thing about getting somebody really, really, really pissed is that most of the time you also need to get really, really, really pissed. So
Thanks,
something that we didn't really consider going into this meeting. We're gonna get him really, really drunk so we can extract all this information. It's kind of hard to extract information when you're 7 shots of tequila deep in a couple bintang.
And then postcard story, we're gonna go quick because
know,
otherwise
we're
we're gonna
gonna-
be late for the flight.
Yeah.
But postcard story, basically this guy, we're getting completely wasted with him, and then he's like, "Well, guys, I got a tattoo shop like next to the tenancy that you got. This tattoo shop is actually mine. The one that the tenancy you're looking for. The tattoo shop next door is mine as well. So, oh yeah, we potentially wanted to get a tattoo from there. Let's go. I already booked my artist. Let's go together." And they said, "What do you want to do?" And so we were already thinking, why not do the postcard of
Seminyak.
this area,
Which
because
is Seminyak, the area of Seminyak, around an hour away from here.
and so we're thinking, okay, let's do a matching tattoo. I was like, yeah, fuck it, I do it with you as well, boys. And then so we agreed on the postcard. And then I remember like keep on drinking into that tattoo shop, and the guy is tattooing us, and not this guy, but he's tattoo artist. And
He's receptionist.
he's receptionist.
He's not even a tattoo artist.
So yeah, that was a bit of
So
a night to
good.
remember. And then we just all went party, and then he ended up like very well. We had an amazing night, but it was like, okay, we learned a lot from that meeting. So market research
Okay,
done differently.
Yes, I love it. Talk to us a bit about the concept for this store as we wrap
Wrap
up.
up,
Maybe
yeah.
let's finish on that. Hopefully nothing's dead. What's the inspiration? We've seen the renders, so it's a little bit different, or a lot different to, I guess, what you can find at City and Faulkner. But for the listeners, yeah, what does it look like and what does it feel like?
I think still basically we want to bring Melbourne coffee shop, which is Mr. Summit, to Bali. That's the plan. With, of course, adapting to the Bali market as well, and having like a piece of like some piece of Bali in there. But the concept is still Mr. Summit. The character is still Mr. Summit, and the identity is still Mr. Summit as well. And to add as well with that, I think even though I'm from Indonesia, Danny from Australia and Tony from France, we all live in Melbourne. We know Melbourne, we understand Melbourne, but we don't know anything about Bali, right? I never live in Bali, and they all never live in Bali. So we're basically, yes, I'm Indonesian, but we're basically all foreigner, technically. But I think it's very relieving, or like it's very nice to see that both Danny and Tony doesn't like come to Bali just for business, but they actually interested in the culture. They learn the language. They try to understand what is the Indonesian culture like, what's the people like, and like making effort on learning everything about Indonesia. You know, like for example, like we went to Surakarta, one of the city in central Java yesterday, and one of the first thing that they say was, oh, this place capital, the batik capital of Indonesia. We want to buy batik. This is batik, by the way. We want
The
to,
traditional
the traditional
Indonesian
Indonesian
clothing.
clothing. We want to buy batik. I don't like. Yes, I know that Solo is a batik capital city, but I don't even think about it ever. You know what I mean? And then they just came up to me and we want to buy batik. It's nice. It's nice to.
100%.
Yeah,
And I think like that's the really exciting part of this store, and like understanding the three of you as well, and also like obviously being in Bali for the last 5 days, we've been to quite a few locations where you still see a really dense population of tourism or tourists or influencers just flocking to this one place. But I think when we look at the renders, the location, and just the vibe of you guys, and obviously like Tony learning Bahasa literally, Danny also like taking us to all these babi guling places that he's just randomly stumbled across. Like you guys are really immersing yourselves in this location, and I think it's a really refreshing way of coming to Bali to do business. Whereas I think there's a really, I guess, sour taste when you think of Bali influencers or people doing business in Bali. Like it's very like, oh, I can live like a king here and all that sort of stuff. And I don't think you guys have approached it in that way at all from what we can see. And even just your interactions with the locals as well is really refreshing. And you're being really considerate with menu choice items, with providing the food for not only tourists, but also the locals as well to be able to come and eat and indulge and enjoy. And that's been like really, I think like when Alisha and I look at, who we want to work with as people, we want to work with people like you because
very nice.
no, it is. No,
True.
truly, it has
So
been
true.
like genuinely life-changing. I think like so refreshing to be able to see people like yourselves go into business. Like we want to be able to storytell and document the journey for people like yourself because that makes a difference. Not just your fancy polished Bali restaurant or cafe or location that all these like influencers come down to shoot their content and like you just flick off the locals to the side of the street. Like that's like I would feel so uncomfortable myself documenting something like that. And I just don't think it would sit well with either of us. So that's sort of my 2 cents in the situation. And I think you guys are doing an incredible job.
We're now you bridged to the Southbank community together. You've done that. Now you're bridging 2 communities here together to one place. And that's going to be a really exciting journey to see, but to also see that you guys are collaborating with local community businesses like the Coffee Farm in progress. It's good to see that you guys are putting the two, still recognizing the 2 communities for what they are, but finding a way to bridge it together. And I think the store is going to really demonstrate that. So it's going to be really, really exciting.
Yeah. Well, we come with respect. Respect to the culture, respect to the community here, and respect to, we're not just coming here, put our money in, and that's it. We come with respect.
But I wanted to add as well something to bounce back to what Jadyn said. If you look like not only at Bali for what you see as a tourist, but if you look at the history of Indonesia, Bali always been a very special place throughout like centuries. And so I just feel like if you don't bring anything special, it's not a good match for the long-term relationship. So we definitely have to be out of the way and think harder and think, okay, how do we make that relationship between us as a foreigner business that is coming into this land in order to be sustainable. We had conversation over the trip where we were like, okay, sustainability in relationship is our big thing. And so I guess that's why we go out of the highway and we're thinking, let's do things differently. Let's make it special. And as Jordan said, pay respect is the number one. Come in peace. Make sure that what we do is with our heart. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time. I think we'll call it there. We might have to do another like part 2 or something. This is so, I feel like part 3 with Jordan.
That's what you said, 1 hour. We just warm up.
We'll have to chat on the plane. We'll just do the second.
We'll have to find a new like location above this level of what we've done on a rooftop now.
Yeah.
To like
Possible,
We'll see
possible.
how we
Top
go.
it up.
Thank you so much for your time, boys.
Thank you
and
guys.
Thank
Thank you
you
for having
for
us.
a very memorable trip. I know you guys actually, holy shit, before I forget, you guys walked away with Control V tattoos.
That's right.
Which
Yeah.
is insane.
Yeah.
That's actually
That's
crazy.
nuts.
They've got our brand tattooed on their fucking bodies, like, plus also the meaning of Control C, Control V to Bali. But no, we couldn't thank you enough for this trip. And we can't wait to see how everything unfolds.
Well, same goes for you guys. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, we can't wait for episode 2 and our next trip to Bali together.
More Frapsy Bali kind of story in the next episode.
So let us know if you want to know
Promise.
more about Frapsy Bali. There's so much more to say.
Actually, nah, yeah, we forgot about the postcode.
Yeah, he didn't
Yeah.
even finish his story.
Oh,
Yeah.
go.
Like 2 minutes, literally 2
Go, go,
minutes.
go.
I was going to
yeah.
say we could save it for next time. Then
You could
Save
say
it
it next
for
time.
next
They got a
time.
reason to watch for
What
the
is
next
the story
episode.
about the postcode?
The post, okay,
In the next
basically.
episode.
Oh no!
Cliffhanger.
Well done, well done.
Next episode.
Oh my
Next
god.
episode,
Yeah,
we
you
have to
didn't
go.
get
We're gonna
5
miss the plane.
stars.
Me? Oh, okay.
Quickly finish it off.
Be sure to rate the show 5 stars. If you're listening on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share
And-
this around.
Follow Mr. Summit Cafe. Follow Mr. Summit Dog Fortna. And follow Mr. Summit soon to be
Bali.
Bali.
And swing by for a coffee, please. We want to see you there.
Great marketing.
Bye.
Thank you guys.